Welcome back. Millennials have been the biggest demographic group since 2015, but they haven't been pulling their weight when it comes to home buying, or so the conventional thinking goes. A new report from Bank of America finds that forward-thinking millennials are buying homes. They're actually happy with their choice. Joining us right now in a First on Fox Business interview to share more home building insights, Head of Consumer Lending of Bank of America, Steve Boland. Good to see you, Steve. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Maria.
So give us the lowdown on home buying today, and then I'd like to get your take on millennials coming of age.
Sure. You know, Maria, it's interesting. This is our second year of doing the Home Buyer Insights Report. Last year, what we heard from millennials is, you know, we're going to wait because we want to have the perfect home, the home we're going to live in forever. And so they were staying on the sidelines. And this year, we talked to millennials who had pulled the trigger, had decided to buy a house, and they've said absolutely the right decision. It's definitely more affordable than renting. And they're telling their millennial counterparts that are sitting on the sidelines, they said, get off the sidelines because this is going to be a great decision. It will help with your personal and financial wellness, as well as be a great decision for you.
Well, I think one of the questions here, this is Mercedes, is obviously the millennials are juggling these debts, the school bills that they have to pay, as well as exactly. So the question is, how do they manage? How are they able financially to manage? And is housing affordable for these first-time millennial home buyers?
And you know, something, Mercedes, that comes through from the report is a couple of things. First, that millennials are really serious and intentional about how they're approaching home ownership. So they're thinking about how to get their credit together. They're thinking about saving for a home. The other thing is that they're doing more learning and investigating. So if you think about on our website on bankofamerica.com, we've partnered with Sal Khan and Khan Academy with Better Money Habits to tell them what it is you really need to do around homeownership and what loan options are available to you, because there are some myths out there that say, hey, I might not be able to afford a home, and they're finding out that, in fact, maybe they can, and it might be more affordable than renting.
Steve, what about, it's Dagan McDowell, what about the long-term, not only the student debt burden that Mercedes mentioned, but the fact that millennials just aren't getting married like older generations? Isn't that a headwind for home buying? So, you know, again, you're seeing, remember, millennials are starting to get older. And so as that cohort gets older and they're continuing to move on with their lives, whether that is getting married or having kids, you're seeing their priorities shift as well. So we're not really seeing that as a headwind. We're seeing a lot of interest in whether it is ready to buy now or doing what it takes to be ready later. And that includes saving, paying down debt, and really being ready to be able to take on home ownership.
What types of homes are millennials looking for?
You know, so millennials, as they've gotten, I think, a little bit more realistic about, hey, this might not be my forever home, right? The report tells us that, you know, many of the millennials that are out there, 68%, are saying, hey, this is a step towards my, you know, future home that I might have. They're realizing that they might need to look at neighborhoods that might be close to that ideal neighborhood that they'd like to be in. So they're looking, you know, near to urban areas, but not necessarily in the most Tony area or in the most expensive
Whatever
area.
They can afford. I mean, look, it's sort of weird to me to hear a millennials, a 20-year-old or whatever, 22-year-old say, oh, I want to buy my forever home.
Yeah. So, you know, I think they're starting to realize reality that, hey, you know, this is just a journey and a step.
Yeah.
And not to mention, you have the issue of 2% anemic growth for the 21st century compared to 3% growth last century. So I'm not surprised that millennials have been a little bit behind, and it's taking them a while to catch up.
Remember, this is a generation that they gave out trophies to every single child. So let's be real here. We're dealing with a psychological change in terms of millennials.
Steve, any impacts from higher interest rates on the housing market that you see over the next year?
Not in the purchase space. You know, Maria, the rates are low, and it's by a historical basis.
Steve, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
You too. Thanks, Maria.
Steve Boland, Bank of America.